Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing this Brazilian agate slab, make it into freeform cab. It's going to be fairly large, but it's not going to be as big as it is. I'm going to cut down some of this, but I'm going to have to leave a lot of that gap there because I don't want to lose the lines, the fortification lines on either side of it, especially this side. And I think that's the side that only has bands going up that way. They're not going to be a very appealing agate. It doesn't have a whole lot of lines in it, and it doesn't have a lot of clear agate because it's got so much quartz in it. It's not a quartz pocket in the center. It's agate, but it's just got a lot of crystals in the agate, a lot of quartz crystal in the agate, or either that or it's a different type of, there's two different types of, every agate's made of quartz jasper and chalcedony, and that's what makes up agate, and all three of those together. But there's two different types of agate, quartz and jasper crystals that form it. And there's a spheroid crystals, and then there's tube crystals, long crystals, fibrous crystals. And so this might have the fibrous crystals inside of it. It may be why it's so cloudy instead of so clear. I don't know. That's my theory anyway. But I'm probably wrong, so I wouldn't take any of what I say to the bank anyway. I've only been doing this for 5 years, and that's an awful lot of off and on time during that 5 years. So don't expect all of everything I say to be true, but I have watched a lot of videos. YouTube University. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to stay shut up while I'm doing this so that I don't have to make it easier on me. Might want to put some water on there besides what I just sprayed. A few fractures on the edges. Oh, that's a chip. And then I got 2 fractures, 3 fractures on that side. It's like there's another chip inside of there, either that or it's just an old fracture that's been healed but has been limonite stained. I can't really tell, but it looks like this here's been beat pretty good with something that may have fractured it inside down in through there, because there's a lot of inclusions in that little pocket of darker orange. But I'll leave on what I have to leave on and what I feel I have to leave on. Like this part here, it comes in this way quite a ways, but it doesn't go back in there at all back here. And I don't think I want to cut it. I think I can get it across, but leave part of it. We'll see. Fracture right there too. I didn't see. It comes down this back side. may lose more of that to the end than I want to, but I don't think it'll matter as much. There's not really, I know what I didn't do. Thing I don't ever do until after I've sat down and started working is replace my glasses with the stronger ones. Okay, I don't see any fortification lines in that right in through there, so I could probably cut it off pretty close to. I don't see any on this side at all. Just this bottom one here, and it's more of a jagged line. But we'll see. I am going to have to get that fracture off there, though. Or that chip, I should say. And I don't think I'll be able to keep a whole lot of the skin. The skin doesn't look like it's going to be worth saving anyway. It's really thin except for right up in here where it's darker orange. But it's included with chunks, like brecciated stuff. Well, it's more of a plume inside there. That brecciated stuff's that where it's been chipped, it looks like. And that's not even this chip up here. That one will come off easy enough, though. This one probably should too when I start rounding it, but it goes down in here more than halfway, so that's what I'm worried about. I'll have to cut it back down this way a little bit. I'm gonna leave some of that in there. Maybe not. I'm gonna have to bring that down. Okay, I'm back. There's my shape. I decided, because my fortification right here in the center of this floater agate looks like it's getting ready to have a, I don't know if you can be able to see it on that one, but it looks like it's getting ready to get a crystal pocket in there, or a bunch of crystal pockets on it. You can see the white on it, I do believe, where it's still like a little pitted from it. Then there's the back. And I was going to leave this one on and this one. And when I started doing that, I decided I better not round that because it's going to be hard to get this looking the same with that big gap in there on the wheels, because it'll skip and raise up on one side or the other depending on which way I'm going, and it'll make it hard to figure it out. So I figured I'd leave it just a little bit kind of an eclectic look, or a rustic look, however you want to put it, and just leave both of those on there. And I've still got the fractures and some pits on the outside. There's the chip here, and then there's the chip here on this end, which is going to be the bottom. And I decided to leave that too. Now I've got another fracture here that's healed mostly, except for right there on that outside edge, but it doesn't go anywhere in the stone. So what I'll do is I'll stabilize. I'll put super glue on the fractures and the chips. I'm not going to fix this chip here. You can see that lighter colored red right there where my fingernail's touching. That's a chip that goes all the way in. If you look at this top line here going across, that chip goes back in as far as the lighter reds piece is. It's probably 3/16 of an inch from here to out here, straight across through there. Show you on this other camera. See how big that chip is? And it goes all the way across. You can't really tell where. What the? Oh, forgot I'm pointed towards the machine still. But you can't really tell where it ends up over here because all the other broken out places where that was chipped to begin with. But if it does come off, it's not going to be no big deal. But if I try to stabilize it, I'm not going to be able to get the super glue off of it, and it's just going to leave it as a blob, and I don't want to do that either. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and run the 280 grit over it. And then when I get done with the 280 grit, I'm going to stabilize it, and then I'll come back and run it over the 280 again to get the glue off, and then go to the next three. So I'll probably have to let it sit almost overnight, which is okay because I still got till Friday, and today's only Tuesday. So I've got a Wednesday video out already. I still got a few little pits in the surface on the backside, but that's no big deal either. They'll come off with either the 280 or the 600, whichever. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And we'll get this puppy done as quick as we can so I can get it stabilized. Oh, I do have that. Yeah, I got that stabilizer. Never mind. Almost forgot about that. Or the quick dry for the super glue. Set the super glue right off the bat. And actually, I can pre-spray it so that it doesn't overflow where I don't want it to go. On the ones close to the two pockets. That one there. So I do want to stabilize it, but I can run it down this way so that the extra glue ain't going to bother me. And this one I can do the same thing, run it down this way, let it run down this way. But this one over here, this one up here, I don't want it to run down in there. These two can run down to the bottom also. So that'll work out good for these also. Just spray that little spot first with the dryer, and there's that chip there that I've kind of almost broken into. Another little fracture there. So if there's an eye inside of that, it's not going to be all that clear in order to be able to see the banding in it either. It's got all that cloudiness to it. And there is a quartz pocket opening up in that. If I can get it where you guys can see it. There you go. See that shadow inside where the lights are at, reflecting off. See the lines going sideways, according to the length of the stone, as long as it is wide. There's quartz crystals in there. Still got quite a bit of pits too from the kerf marks that I got to get out of there. I may end up getting down to that after all, as bad as I hate to. Okay, it's the next day. All my glue is set. I don't know if you can see it. I'm assuming you probably will be able to. It had a little bit of a shine. And I tried not to get any in here. I did get a little bit on this side down in here. That might come off when I put it in the iron out. If it doesn't, I'll soak it all with mineral oil. How hard was that? It just wouldn't come to my head for some reason. But I've done all the other little fractures also. And the back of it, it's sitting on wax paper, so that's why it's rough and textured. But I sure didn't expect that much glue to drop down underneath, especially when you can see how light these two were with the first two drops that came out when I tipped it over a little too fast. But I had to cut the tip off again, as usual. That's what I don't like about that one for some reason. I see people that are using thin CA glue stuff that just doesn't clog up their tips, and they've got the long tip that kind of sticks out like this off the top of the bottle. and it doesn't seem like it ever gets clogged up. Maybe it's because they breathe it after they get done and have to sit it down and then squeeze it a few times and push air up and out, in and out to suck all the glue back down in. I don't know. And I've had to cut the tip off it every time, but it's just it sticks up straight about that tall, straight up off the bottle instead of going around it. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to the 220 again. Or 280 again, sorry, and get this off. This may take a little while, so I don't know how much of this I'll show, but I'll show the start of it anyhow. I just wanted to make sure you could see that I wasn't lying when I told you. I stabilize them if they've got any fractures in them. It's usually done after it's polished. That way when I take it off, I'm not messing anything up. Or after it's at least done with a 280 anyhow. But I'm going to start on the back of this first. And they try to figure out a way to stop that from happening. This glue from sticking to the back like this, anyway. I don't know how yet. Maybe Vaseline or something, spread some Vaseline around it, around what I want to do, and that way it gets on top of the Vaseline, and ain't gonna be no big deal, it'll run right off. But I gotta see what super glue will do to Vaseline first. And get some Vaseline. I've got car grease, but I don't really want to use car grease. Okay, I'm back. There's my stone. There's the front side. And just in case, it's got a lot of shine on it, as you can see. It's also got a few scratches, long way scratches. No, that's the back. Oh no, that's the front. And right here where the two crystal pockets are at, right there. You can just barely see them probably, just because they're soft spot. But they were letting out crystals on it, and I think so. I've got some long ways scratches here. I'd get them out, and then when I tried to polish out where I roughed it up getting them out, it'd leave more. It wasn't the same scratches because they were in different places. And every time I went over it, just took them off and put them back on. So I give up. Not a whole lot I can do about that. There's the back. And then here it is with the light behind it. I'll start with the back. Darn fly, it's been bugging me the whole time I've been working. There it is with the light behind it. I don't know how good you can see, but it doesn't look like it's flickering as much as I thought it would be. And that looks like an L, kind of, sort of. And then when you flip it this way, because there's more yellow over here on this side, it kind of looks like a J. But I decided to go for like a rustic look. That's why I left the pits on there. Plus I didn't want to lose this swooping pattern here where they're at on both sides. Although there's not many fortification lines in it, there are when it gets further down, as you can see by this one, with the light coming in behind it. And you can see on this side, you can see all the little crystals. Hopefully, I'll have to look at this when I edit it, which I'll be doing shortly after I eat supper. But there's a bunch of little crystals buried inside of there that are winking back at you. And some of those are still pits, I do believe. But they broke open, they broke out. That's on the J side, that's on the face. But that's where the crystals in that, all in that agate, are being a pain. And there it is on the other camera. Let's try it with that light behind it. Okay, now I got it wet again. Okay. There's the phrase, because that's the J. And there's the, excuse me, there's the back. Back turned out better than the front as far as the shine goes, but only because of the scratches and that soft spots where that crystal pockets, where those two crystal fortifications are at, because they are basically fortification lines. Okay, let's try this way. Well, that's not doing any good. So, but anyway, and you can see the fracture here, down here actually. I didn't do too bad keeping this edge polished. Same with this one over here. It's a little bit of a pain because when you go across this with the wheel, it wants to drop down and then come back up, so it rounds off both sides of that. And then it's hard to get it to polish back out, especially when it's at an angle like this on the face, because as you come by running this edge, it rounds off the outer edge of that V. But I managed to keep it pretty shiny in there, and it looks like, yeah, now you can tell. When it was wet, you couldn't see the super glue in there. But with it wet, you can see the lighter yellows where there isn't any super glue and the darker yellows where there is. I may go ahead and put super glue on that and kind of use I've got an air compressor. I'll use the air compressor to blow the super glue off to keep it from staying thick. And that'll keep it all the same color. And it'll make sure none of those other chips come off. I don't think I'm going to worry about this one here. Just because I'll soak it with mineral oil. I'll soak it all with mineral oil because of the pits. I do have a few pits up here at the top that still have rust in the bottom of them. And then I've got one little pit there that I tried to take out, but it popped up later on. It was a dark spot like these, but it was a small dark spot. And when I got too deep into it, it popped open. And then my fingernail paring chip. Ain't that something? That's 3 in a row with fingernail, 3 or 4. I don't know how many with chips that look like fingernail paring. It's because it's from the conchoidal fracturing. Agates and jasper and quartz all fracture conchoidally. So if you've ever seen anybody like in a business where somebody's come through town and shot the windows with a BB gun, it'll break out a little cone on the inside. Sometimes that cone comes out and leaves a hole through the glass. Other times it doesn't, and it looks like a volcano stuck in a hole. Basically, is what it looks like, and that's what conchoidal fracturing is. Glass does the same thing, because it's basically quartz, silica sand, and but I like this stone. And my other little fracture right there You can see the lighter white. That's an internal fracture, always has been. I put super glue on it anyway, just in case. But I also had to put super glue on these two fractures here just because there was sand in where they'd healed. And I wanted to make sure that sand didn't come out and that give it the shine on top of the sand rather than, but below the sand, they were healed because you can't see the fracture anywhere else. There was just a few places you could see the sand, especially like right here on this edge. You can see the sand in it there, but that's still all underneath too. You can't see the fracture at all. Like from there to there, you can see the fracture in that line. But that's the only place, and it wraps all the way back down around this way. And that was the only place you could see the actual line from the fracture. And this one here, it was just like halfway across to this side here is where you could see it at. Running up to there and down to here. I don't think I'll put this in iron out. I don't know what it'll do to the super glue. I don't know if it'll loosen up any of my chips. Yeah, this one here kind of looks like this chip here on this edge. Right there. Looks like a fingernail paring too, and it's opposite the one on the other face. There it is. Had to find it again. But it's a good looking stone. It's not as good looking as I'd like it to be. That's why I decided to just go ahead and leave it rustic looking. Let somebody wire tie it, because these will make nice holders. You can wrap a wire around the bottom of that, come back around to the back. I don't know. I haven't done any wire tie. I've watched a few videos, same with the silversmithing, but enough videos to know that I don't think it's really my shtick. Because I don't have the hand, and I got a short finger that when you bend it, it's shorter than the others. And I'm left-handed, which means I would be holding everything with my right hand. And if you can only hold it with 2 fingers or 3 fingers like this, you've got that extra finger sticking out there with nothing to do. That's why I keep saying, since I did that, I've always been telling people that if I flip somebody off, it's going to be, I don't really mean it, because it's not a full flip off, it's just a partial. But I don't do that very often anyway. At least not where anybody can see me doing it. I wait till they turn around. No. I'm not out to tick anybody off. They don't tick me off. I may get upset a little bit, but not a lot. Not enough to be angry, or, well, a little angry, but not violent angry. And usually it's one of those deals where, yeah, I've never done that in my life. Trust me. So it's usually something that I've done in my life once or twice, accidentally or on purpose, depending on what it is. But anyway, you guys take care. Thanks for watching. This one will be out Friday. And then I'm going to work on these two. I don't know which one first, or whether I put them both on the same one. It depends on how they go. I think I'm going to switch back for this one here that doesn't have too bad of kerf marks on it, I think I'll switch back to my new 220 and take the kerf marks out of it with the 220, and then put the old 220 on, back on, and take the scratches from my new 220 out with the old 220 so that I can get them out with my old 600. It's not that old, but it does seem to be a little bit wore out just because I was abusing those two, trying to do all of those full slab samples with just the 220, because I didn't want to go on to these two. Because anytime, and when I did this one, I don't know how many times I nicked the face with the corners of these wheels. But that kind of looks like a onion piece right there. Looks like a slice of onion left in a skillet after you get done cooking. But anyway, you guys take care and stay tuned for the next one after this. And see y'all later.